Hello, gang, and welcome to yet another watch along. Um, Tonight we will be watching the 1981 Video Nasty. Sorry, let me check my phone real quick here. Oh, okay. I will check that later. We will be watching the 1981 Video Nasty, Sleaze, Gore, possibly a classic, depending on who you ask. Sorry if you hear Steve in the background, but he's getting a little excited playing his wrestling game. Um, but for those of you that did not see the warning in the description for the stream, those of you that did not see the warning that flashed up there on the screen for about 20 to 30 seconds before I came on here, I'm giving a third warning just to make absolutely sure that everyone that is in here right now wants to remain. Okay. And I'm instituting this, and this will be used. Hey, Blissful, this tactic, or whatever you want to call it, will be used anytime I think that there is going to be sensitive material that may affect people in adverse ways. Whether it's going to be talked about, whether we're doing a watch along, whatever. If I deem that the content that either I'm talking about or we're watching a movie together, as we do with these watch alongs, and you're unsure whether or not that you want to participate or you want to watch the movie on your own and stick around in the chat, hopefully this will, number one, keep my content from being yanked. But above all of that, because this is not really about my channel, it's about how I feel about potentially upsetting people by talking about certain films or the way I talk about certain films. If I'm giving too much information about certain films, I definitely don't want to drive people away from the channel. And I did a lot of soul searching last night. I did a lot of soul searching today about whether I wanted to continue the channel and whether or not I wanted to continue doing the channel the way that I have been doing the channel. And ultimately, I decided, that yes, I do want to continue doing the content. However, I think it behooves me to warn people in advance when there's potentially sensitive material. Now, are you required to watch this movie to participate in the watch along? No. No, sir. No, ma'am. You are not. If Nightmare from 1981 is not your cup of tea, but you just want to hang around in the chat and talk to everybody, I am not going to say anything about that. In fact, it makes me happy that people want to come here and hang out. But it is also important to me that everyone feels like they're in a safe environment. That not an environment that's going to send them into panic attacks. It's going to trigger them. And I'm not being sarcastic about this. I am being heartfelt and honest with each and every one of you guys and gals. Okay, because I don't know. I have not walked in your shoes. Okay, I don't know what roads you have traveled unless you have shared this information with me, right? So I thought it better that for sensitive material, what I deem to be sensitive material, that I warn you multiple times in advance. And so from now on, that is what I'm going to do. So I think Chris is going to be joining me here in a bit. He is getting Plex loaded up so that he can watch the movie through Plex. I do have a link for the movie on Plex in case you don't own a copy yourself, but you do want to participate and watch along as we're watching the movie. Okay. Um, a little a note about tomorrow. We will be doing, barring anything happening like me getting violently ill or anything, I am planning on doing the Ghostbusters watch along, which I don't think I'll have to put a warning on that one. But I am still planning on doing the Ghostbusters watch along tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. However, there has been a little bit of a snafu with the movie Munchies, and I'm not going to go into details about it, only to say that um, I won't be doing the deep red spaghetti tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time like I had planned. But the next time, the week after this weekend, I won't be doing watch alongs and movie munchies. So that following weekend, I will do the deep red spaghetti. So y'all can look forward to all of that. I just wanted to make sure that nobody was like, "Where's Dana at 3 p.m.? She's not on here making deep red spaghetti." So I just wanted to let you know in advance that there had been a small change in a rescheduling of that movie Munchies. Hey, Mayor, you say you don't have anything to apologize for, Daniel. Your channel is primarily a horror channel. People shouldn't be surprised that some content might be offensive. Well, while I agree to that to some extent, Mayor, I also want to make sure that I protect everyone. And people that have went through some traumatic events, and I'm not going to go into those traumatic events. People that may have went through traumatic events may not feel comfortable talking about those events. And I totally get that. I totally respect that. Um, However, because I don't know who has been through what unless they've shared that information with me, I think it behooves me to have these warnings when there could be potentially delicate, sensitive, um, maybe even traumatic things going on in a film. Now I saw Chris down there, but he disappeared, so hopefully he'll be back here in a little bit. So hey, Batman. Um, but I do thank you for your support, Mayor. I do. Um, so um, I'm gonna, I can take any questions that y'all might have about this movie if y'all are unfamiliar with the movie Nightmare from 1981 while I wait for Chris to come back because I really want him to be on here when I start the movie. Now, a little word of warning. Normally, I like to stay on here for a little while after the watch along is over. However, I have been wiped out and not feeling the greatest. And so I may skedaddle on out of here a little bit earlier than normal. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I love to stick around. I love to hang out after the movies are over. However, I just may not physically be able to do that tonight. So just wanted to let you know. So I'm going to go ahead and add Chris here, and we'll get started here in just a little bit. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dana. Sorry, I got a little different setup tonight.
Okay.
Typically, like I'll use Noah's laptop because that's the only laptop we have right now. If somebody wants to send me some money to buy me another laptop, that'd be awesome because I can't afford another one right now. But yeah, so I'm just having to try to do this with my phone, see how this goes. Said I don't have a professional setup or anything as of right now, so just kind of winging this.
Were you able to get Plex loaded?
Yeah, I got the movie already up here and everything. Just ready to press play. Just whenever we want to get into that. But yeah.
Okay. So for Chris and anybody else that is going to be watching along with this lovely movie, um, we have got, or I have it queued up to 21st Century Distribution Corp.
Let's see if I
So
can
if
get to
everybody
that.
wants to get theirs queued up there, that's where we'll start here in a
Oh
minute.
yeah, it looks like the Superman text.
Yeah, it does.
I've never seen this movie, so um,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I had the warning up there, so I don't think you're going to be. I think you'll be able to handle this,
I'm
Chris.
good. I'm not easily offended by stuff, so I've not to bring it up again, but I've seen I spit on your grave several times, and I'm alive. So
Chris is still standing upright even after seeing
yeah, yeah, I'm good.
that. But I hope that everybody understands why I decided to institute those little warnings now
Yeah,
from
yeah,
here on.
it's understandable. I mean, like it shows what kind of person you are, Dana. I mean, you're very respectful of others' feelings and stuff, and you don't do anything that's malicious in any way. You don't have a malicious bone in your body. I know after all these years of knowing you, I know that. I mean, so anybody takes anything wrong or anything, they can. Well, there's the door.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Steve said. But I do try to be respectful to everybody, unless you disrespect me. And nobody that's in here right now has disrespected me. So
Yeah,
uh, hopefully we won't have any of those people stop in tonight. They did stop in near the middle and end of that stream yesterday, and hopefully me and Blissful have gotten rid of those people. So um,
yeah. Unfortunately, there's always going to be those people in anybody's streams, not just yours. Like there's going, I'm sure Dead Pits had their fair share of people like that that kind of gets on their nerves. But just some people it gets to them easier than others. If it was me and somebody was doing it to me, I completely understand how you feel. It would bother me. I'm just being honest. But you gotta look past all that crap sometimes.
yeah, and we're gonna move onward and upward. So I guess we'll go ahead and do the countdown. We'll go ahead and get started with this movie. I'm not sure of the time frame on yours, Chris. Is this one the hour and 39-minute version?
Let me take a look here and see. 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 3 seconds. It looks like.
It might be this one might be 7 seconds longer, but we're not going to quibble with that. I don't
Well,
think.
it might be just where I've. It might just say the 3 seconds at the end, but because I'm 6 seconds onto the logo. So
Okay, I think I'm 13 seconds in there, so we'll be synced up pretty good, I think. I do have Mayor. I do have the 4K of Nightmare, but of course I can't watch a 4K back here in the computer room. So I did get this from Severin, so I'm going to be watching the Blu-ray tonight of it. So anyway, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. And I asked Steve if he wanted to join us for this, and he's like, "Nah, I think I've seen that movie enough." So.
well, not me because this is my first time. So
I think Steve's got the stream on back there. I thought I heard a little bit of it back there. So we're getting ready to see the first gory shot of the film here. I'm hearing my voice echoing back there in the living room.
is it so? Does this movie have a lot of gore in it?
Quite a bit of gore. There has
Awesome.
also been some controversy about whether Tom Savini was the special effects dude on this. And
Oh
there's your
wow.
the gore.
There's his penis.
Steve, stop that. I'm trying to avoid upsetting people. Okay?
Tidy Whitey alert.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have his underwear on at least.
Yeah, tidy whities.
Blissel says hi, Ninja Steve.
Hello. Tidy Whitey.
I hear that in the background.
Tidy Whitey.
So we're seeing that this character of George is obviously in a straitjacket. He's in a mental health facility. And he's a little worse for wear right now. They give him some drugs.
Did you say that Tom Savini did the effects on this, or was it just kind of you don't really know?
Well, they list Tom Savini as special makeup effects coordinator or something. We'll see that in the credits probably. Special effects director Tom Savini.
Okay.
But Tom Savini claims that he was not, and I think he may have threatened to sue to get his name taken off. He wanted his name taken off the poster. And so for years there's been controversy. Was Tom Savini the special effects director? Was he not? A lot of people stake that claim.
And he wanted his name taken out. Did he just not like how the movie turned out, or was he just
he said that the people behind the making of the film were using his name to get people to watch.
Oh, well, it was kind of just like a false, false thing that they were claiming that he was involved in the movie. Really wasn't. Well, I can understand that. That's a legal thing.
But the director basically says Tom Savini's a liar, that he was on the set. There are pictures of Savini. I've seen them. There are pictures of Savini with the axe that is used at some points in this film. He's standing beside the kid who plays the young George in the film. And it's as if he's showing the kid how to hold the axe in certain scenes. So I think Savini did admit that, yes, he was on the set because a friend of his was working on, a friend of his that was in special makeup effects was working on this and asked Savini to come to the set. So I guess it depends on who you want to believe there. Do you want to believe the director? Do you want to believe Savini? But that's been the big controversy. It's not really the gore or anything like that with this movie, unless you talk about the video nasties craze.
Yeah.
The big controversy about this movie is whether or not Tom Savini was on set and was he special effects director.
That kid's bed they showed a moment ago had like 3 or 4 different blankets on it, and I was like, that's like mine and Candace's bed. Because like me and Candace have a few different blankets on our bed because neither one of us likes to share, so we have to have our own blankets.
Well, Steve has this thing where he gets overheated, so sometimes he'll like just throw off all the covers onto me, and I'm like, in the wintertime, I'm like, oh, cool, I get extra cover, but if not,
it's winter time, and we probably have more blankets on during the winter than what we usually have.
Hey, Victor, you say hi, Dana and Crater and everybody.
Hey.
Glad to see the channel is still going. Yeah, Victor, it's still up and running.
Yeah, and even though I'm doing this from my phone right now, I figured I can see the chat now, so I figured out how to do that. Said sometimes I'm technologically impaired, but I usually figure things out.
I did not see that Vinegar Syndrome was releasing Tom Savini's The Ripper, Mayor, but I'm going to look into that.
They are. They actually, when they did that halfway to Black Friday sale when it started a couple like last night or night before,
Right.
That was one of the ones they had listed on there, and that the cover's really cool. The cover is a lot cooler than what the movie is, in my opinion. But but
Yeah,
yeah,
the movie is very low budget, shot on video.
well, yeah, it is. It's shot on home video, and I think that's why it's like a lot. It gets a lot of flack, which I just didn't really care for it. But like, because I mean, just because it's shot on video wasn't the reason why I liked it. But I think that's why most people don't like it.
Right. So the babysitter has been terrified. We're going to find out that it's this kid, it's CJ, that,
CJ,
yeah, this, yeah, I
that's my
didn't,
if nobody knows, that's my brother-in-law's name. So
yeah, I didn't even think about that whenever I said that. But yeah, but I bet CJ growing up was a little bit better behaved than this kid in this
um, from what the stories I'm told, probably not.
Mayor says, I'm in the same boat as you, Chris. I do everything on my phone, and I've never been able to read the chat whenever I've been on a live.
Yeah, I've got the chat like my screen right now. Like all I can see is the chat. I can't see mine or Dana's video. I may go back out of here. I just wanted to see what everybody's talking about. That's because I always like interacting with you guys in chat too.
So I was always confused by this. What are you doing, Steve? What is that for? Okay, I was always confused by this scene because I didn't know if the boy's father, if George's father was with a dominatrix. That's what I thought because she was slapping him around. But then I heard that that was supposed to be the boy's mother. So, and there was a beheading there.
Maybe. I mean, he did have a mask on too. Looked like that was a little bit of that BDSM stuff.
That's a lovely picture of George Tatum there.
Schizophrenia, mild amnesia, homicidal, dream fixation, and seizures. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, that guy's got a whole host of issues going on there. Mayor, you say tell Steve to put a shirt on. Well, he's probably getting ready to lay down. That's probably why he's got his shirt off.
I just went into my first ad.
Yeah. Well, when it comes back on, let me know and we'll try to get the sync back up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm having to do this through Plex because I don't have a physical copy of this. If I would have just got the physical copy and put it in the PlayStation and played it.
Now, you guys and gals could have rented it from YouTube, but I know some people don't prefer to do that.
All right, I'm back. It's back now.
Okay, so George is looking at them through that, I guess, that one-way glass. I guess he can't really see the doctor and stuff on the other side of the glass.
Mm-hmm. I would think not. But I do appreciate that the film, when they showed all of his diagnoses a minute ago, I do appreciate that the film just held that up there for like a few seconds for everybody to be able to read it all.
Right. Well, make sure you read all that. So the psychiatrist is talking to George about his dreams and trying to figure out what these dreams that George is having mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's pretty much cut and dry. But I guess they think it's some big secret. So the psychiatrist is trying to get George to say, are you watching a child or are you that child?
And he's the child in the dreams, right?
Right. Oh my, Mayor says that guy sounds like my next door neighbor. He's got a laundry list of mental health issues, but he won't be my neighbor for long since he's in jail now for breaking and entering into another neighbor's home. Ooh, that's creepy.
I don't know where you're from, Mayor, but that sounds a lot like the area I live in too. Like there's a lot of people that's just got. I don't know if they got any kind of mental health issues, but there's just um, they have a problem with meth, and
They're trying
so
to see
that's
what they can steal so they can get more meth, probably.
if anybody was watching the stream the night that me and Dana did, and there was a guy trying to break into our car, and yeah, it turns out that guy was on meth. So I'm not surprised.
And the guy that was playing the psychiatrist that was talking to George is one of the filmmakers, too. So,
Okay.
as they did with several, low budget productions, people would wear a lot of hats. So, this is one of the scenes that I want to warn people about ahead of time because, as we can see, there are sex shops there. This is in New York City. He's probably on 42nd Street, I would imagine, because during this time period, 42nd Street wasn't a very good place to be at nighttime, especially. So there's going to be a lot of sex shops, X-rated theaters, peep shows, all of that. So
That's in all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's no big deal. I mean, if you watch Basket Case, that kind of same stuff is in there as well.
So George is eventually going to go into one of these peep shows, and he's going to watch a woman, dancing around partially naked. And it's one of those things where, and honestly, I've never been in one of these places. I've just seen them on movies where you
Yeah.
pay the woman to dance for you, and she dances for so long, and then this panel slides down and you can't see the woman anymore unless you want to pay more money.
Well, honestly, Dana, I mean, like I didn't know if, like I've never experienced one of those either, and I didn't even know if that stuff like that actually existed or if that was just something made up for movies. But I did find out that it actually was something that exists during that time, and it's not something you can really find nowadays. But you know what I
No,
mean?
no. But back in 1981 and, mid to late 70s, this stuff was making money. And of course, it's anything that's going to make money, somebody's going to keep doing it, right? So, if a woman dancing partially nude for men makes money, then they're going to say, well, yeah, we'd be stupid not to do this.
Um, Uncle Bill said, "Love their catalytic converters, love their meth." Yeah, for real.
Mayor says my apartment building in Ohio is for people that have mental issues. But some, like my neighbor, has far too many and honestly doesn't need to live on his own.
So I'm curious, like this girl that they got for this scene, this peep show, did they was that? I wonder if she was just a regular actress or if that's just like a dancer that they just picked up off the
Yeah,
street. Like, hey, you want to be in a movie?
these may have been real peep show women. I'm not really sure. So now he's got one woman behind glass who's making sexual advances towards him, and um, I guess she's not George's type because he just turns around and walks on. Um, but this scene might be a little explicit for people because, as you can see, that woman has a sexual Well, she has a sex toy, basically. And she's talking to George through the phone, and of course, it's flashing back to when George was a young boy, and they're not really showing anything per se, but you get what's going on there, or what's supposedly going on there. But George is, he ain't enjoying it because George is going into a seizure here. And I think the way they, in case anybody cares, I believe the way that they achieved the foaming of the mouth effect was with some kind of like antacid type tablet mixed with water or something so that it would fizz and he would just let it come out of his mouth. But
Well, yeah, it's like how they did, in Urban Legend when Joshua Jackson does that in Robert England's classroom. It's kind of the same thing, yeah. The second day.
it's just very ominous, the titles and stuff.
And what I'm like imagining is that like with each day it gets worse and worse.
Pretty much. Yeah. Because we're gonna find out that George has an ultimate goal. He's trying to get somewhere. He's not just randomly going places.
Right. The guy kind of looks like Jim Henson.
Yeah, he does. Uncle Bill, you say this is one movie I can never get into. It's just slow and goofy, trying really hard to be like Maniac and failing horribly. I can see that, Uncle Bill, but I still like this movie. Maybe it's for the gore element. If I'm wanting to watch a really gory movie, um, Nightmare's right up there as far as really, really gory films.
Well, what I've already experienced with it so far, I'm liking it. I really like the gore effects in this. I love that kind of quality, early '80s, late '70s type gore. And it does, even if Tom Savini wasn't associated with this, like that looks like his style.
Right.
Um, and I also like how it's filmed, the shots. How they're like it's just kind of following George, like earlier when he was like walking on the strip there, uh, against all those different businesses. I really like how when they shoot films like that, and it's that gritty feel to it as well is really cool to me.
So, for those of you guys, and I'm not trying to get any married guys in trouble here, but for those of you that it's not your cup of tea to watch women in peep shows, you get this lovely lady here who you get to see naked quite a few times, the mother of these children. So, there is that.
Well, Candace is aware that I watch stuff where it shows her titties and stuff, so she don't care. I mean, like she knows I just went to Frankencon to meet Michelle Bauer for a reason. So
There were two big reasons, right, Chris? Hey Wes, he says, "Good evening, Yins. The 7 4K of this is fantastic. I like it, and it's just loaded. It's loaded with special features on it. There's a lot of really cool special features."
dang, I'm gonna have to get caught up with you. This is a long freaking ad that this Plex just gave me. I've never used Plex before, so I wasn't sure how long their ads would be.
Yeah, depending on if it's Plex or one of the other entities out there, they vary. I wish they could keep. It's like, for the love of God, can you keep some of these commercials and ads, a little bit shorter?
Yeah, we'll try to get caught up with you here. So where are you at right now?
The mother is on the boat with her boyfriend. Well, now they're showing George driving down the road, which
All
is
right. Yeah, that's where I just skipped to. I'm sure I'm not missing a whole lot. I'll go back and watch the whole thing on my own at some point too. So I just want to be on like the same like pace as you.
Right. The guy who plays the mother's boyfriend was also somebody that worked on the crew as well. So it seems George is having a little car trouble here.
Man, he just kicked shit out of that door.
Yeah.
Merle Haggard.
Yeah. Oh man. So we're going to come up here shortly on a scene. I'm not going to describe it in detail or anything. I'm just saying that scene was the first time I saw it.
Is that Betty Davis back there behind him in that picture?
It kind of looks like.
I thought it was her.
But the scene creeped me out, and it still sort of creeps me out. And we'll wait till we get to it, but it's coming up.
Big Charlie Chaplin poster behind that guy.
Yeah.
There's Humphrey Bogart back there. It's a cool little bar they're in. Like, it's got a bunch of different celebrity posters and stuff hanging on the wall. Like, that's James Cagney back there.
Yeah, I believe so.
Have you ever been to a bar like that where they have like live music and stuff playing, Dana, or no?
No, I think Steve has, but I haven't specifically.
When we went to Nashville that time, and I bought her that ticket to go see Paul McCartney.
Mhm.
I said I was just wandering the streets of Nashville while she was at the concert, and I went to this little bar like down the street, and there was a guy in there like that, like playing guitar and singing songs and stuff, and he was like taking requests, and he was just playing all like country shit, and I was like, play some AC/DC. And he actually did, so that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. So what AC/DC song did he play?
Shook Me All Night Long.
Okay.
Probably the only one he knew.
No, Steve does not wear any yellow and brown hankies when he goes to bars. I know what you're getting at there. It's not cruising.
That's another movie I've never seen is Cruising.
Oh wow. You need to watch that one sometime, Chris.
You know, I've honestly not seen a whole lot of Al Pacino stuff. That is Al Pacino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not seen Scarface. I've not seen that. I've not seen.
I love Scarface.
I think he's in Carlito's Way. I know I'm aware of his films. I just haven't really seen a whole lot. Now, was it Al Pacino that's in Dog Day Afternoon?
I think he is. I'm pretty sure, but I haven't
Okay.
seen one.
I have seen Dog Day Afternoon, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I get Al Pacino and Dustin Hoffman mixed up for some reason. I don't know why.
Hillman and De Niro mixed up sometimes. Okay, so that scene that I was talking about is getting ready to happen. So we got the woman who was out with, I guess, her boyfriend, and now she's went back home. That is definitely like late 70s decor in there. Look at the paneling on the walls.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, actually.
Because I remember like a lot of people, like older members of my family and stuff when I was a kid, their houses would all be dressed up like that and stuff. And you know, they showed that big picture on the wall back there of the deer. I was kind of curious if that was like one of those velvet fabric like
Oh,
picture,
yeah.
because I know those were really popular back during this time too. Damn, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is the scene I'm talking about. When she bends down and you see him there, that is shot was so creepy the first time I watched it.
Yeah, yeah. Looked like he enjoyed that.
Yeah. This is definitely not for the squeamish. I, I, I I'll just be honest, brutally honest there.
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse.
So this too is like he is getting sexual gratification by plunging the knife repeatedly into her stomach.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that in like other films. Like I know I mentioned this before on your show before, but Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer with Tom Cowles' character, where as he's watching the video back and everything, he's getting pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I've seen worse.
And then this is kind of gross. It's like he's tasting her blood.
Third day. It's like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? He just sliced that one head off, stabbed her repeatedly to the stomach. Like, what else can I do? That's what he's laying there thinking right now. He's like, what can I do tonight, boys?
I'm mad the director said, damn it, we're going to get as much use out of this severed head as we can because we've already seen that
It's
severed.
a good effect. They should be proud of that. It's a good effect.
So now we're back to the head of this clinic he's pissed because they've lost a very dangerous patient.
Damn. Yeah, sounds like the Micro Machines guy from the 80s. You can't hear my volume from my TV, can you?
I can hear it slightly, but it's not bothering me at all.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if it was enough to where it would get you in trouble or anything. I got it down pretty low.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll be able to pick out anything out of it. Batman, you say we should do a first time reaction to movies like Crater's first time watching Scarface and Dana with It Chapter 2.
So you've not seen It Chapter 2?
I have not. I've seen the first part.
I like it. I like the second, but except the ending. I thought it was good up until the ending of Chapter 2. I was a bit disappointed by it, but
Yeah. So they didn't rectify the problem that people had with the original It miniseries.
no, not really. I prefer the ending of the miniseries than I do the Chapter 2 remake. I swear, this guy playing George. What's the actor's name? Because he looks like somebody that I know.
And I think his name is Stafford Baird. And I think he has passed away kind of in the last couple of years, maybe.
Oh, okay. I know who he looks like to me now. Do you know who Brian Bremer is? He played Bunt in Pumpkinhead, and he was in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He kind of looks like him a bit to me, at least.
This woman, this mother, spends so much time in bed. Every time you see her, just about she's in bed.
I was trying to see what the title of that book is that she's got laying there. Something
Mhm.
love.
Yeah. It's probably a romance novel.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
My Aunt
Dang, that
Pam.
pillow she's laying on looks just like a pillow we got on our bed right now. Let me get this thing. I think it's the same one.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
It's the same freaking pillow.
Oh my gosh, that is wild. You're gonna have to tell Candace about that. Actually, I think I saw Candace.
She's watching right now, I think.
Hey, Candace, by the way, I didn't mean to like miss you when you came in. So,
I think you did say hi to her when she came in earlier.
oh Lord, I tell you, I'm just so crazy. I don't.
You're losing it, Dana. You're losing it.
I think I already lost it, like Jamie Lee Curtis says in Halloween. All three of these kids, though, I think are super annoying. Some people will probably only think CJ's annoying.
Damn,
And
that's kind of wrong.
see some side boob there, guys. And
That guy looks like Tommy Chong.
it's hilarious.
It's like Labrador.
Probably thought he was one lucky man getting to rub his hands all over this woman all the time. He was probably like, "Thanks for giving me this part in the movie."
And lady was probably absolutely disgusted. Like, get your damn dirty hands off me.
Yeah, in between scenes, she was like, "I don't want you touching me no more."
I gotta show this movie to my brother-in-law CJ though, because he'll appreciate that. He always likes when there's something with the character's name is CJ in it. So
So we're gonna find out here shortly that, well, if you haven't already figured it out, that CJ is a little bit of a prankster. So we see him taking the garbage out because his sister said, "Remember, CJ, your mom said, or our mom said you had to take the garbage out." And there's George lurking around.
garbage day.
That would be funny if he said that.
That'd be awesome. Just George pull out a gun on a kid.
I
And
have
she's she's wearing a sweater, kind of like Mrs. Voorhees.
So she's not being a very good mother here because she has left her kids home alone to mess
shit.
around with her boyfriend. And now it looks like CJ may have been attacked.
Oh yeah, something definitely happened. It's like it's cranberry sauce. No.
So the mother calls and they're screaming. All the kids are screaming. The girls are screaming that CJ, CJ's covered in blood. Now, let me ask you this, Chris. I hope this never happens, but if Noah called you and said somebody was covered in blood at y'all's house, y'all would be in a panic, just like she is right here.
Yeah, 100%.
And of course, she's having, as any mother would, who thinks that she might get home and her child's dead.
We're tight though, right? At least at where the age he's at right now, we don't hardly ever leave him alone unless it's just for like a few minutes. Like if me and her have to run down the road to the grocery store or something, I mean, he'll be all right for like 5 to 10 minutes. But most of the time, if it's long periods of time like that, we find somebody he's got to stay with. So that's how I grew up too. Like my parents did the same thing.
When I was about 12, mom and dad started letting me stay by myself.
Well, typically that's the age they do. I guess you do let kids start staying by themselves, but like my parents were afraid to just because I have epilepsy, so they didn't want to take that risk of me being by myself and something happened. But once I got to a certain age, they finally started leaving me alone when I was about 14 or 15.
Chris, the mayor wants to know, does CJ like CJ Ramon?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I don't even know if he knows who that is.
So the boyfriend is checking CJ, he's, feeling of his shirt.
Yeah, it's a prank.
And then he tastes it. It's ketchup.
That's kind of what I figured what was going on. I was like, because you told me earlier he was kind of a prankster, and I was like, yeah, nothing happened to him. That's what my mom would do if I did that. Probably.
If we did something like that, me or my brother, my mom would be like that.
Oh, my mom would be furious. So I didn't play too many jokes as a kid on my mom. I always have them.
I would have never dreamed of doing anything like that.
Yeah, I've always like messed around, played prank stuff on my dad, because my dad is like a joker like that too. He appreciates that kind of stuff. I think that's where I get that from.
And he does say mellow out. You know how you said he was like Tommy Chong? He's like, hey, mellow out. So we find out that CJ's father left at a certain point, and she, till she met this guy, she was pretty much having to raise those kids herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm at another ad. I want to let this go through and get caught back up with you, but I don't like ads, Dana.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we'll have to watch that.
Oh, you gotta be sorry. I just mess around.
I do wish there were more free avenues that didn't have ads, though.
Let me tell you something weird though, and so we downgraded our Netflix account to where we get ads.
Yeah.
But they have a thing on there to where you can't watch certain stuff on Netflix if you just have the one with ads, like the movie Thanksgiving, Eli Roth.
Yeah.
It won't let you watch it if you don't upgrade to without ads.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So this is something else in the movie I never understood. They're leaving a very young CJ by himself in the house while they all go have ice cream.
Yeah, he's gonna burn that house to the ground. It'll teach you for leaving me home, not get me some ice cream. I'll burn this friggin' house down.
So now George is calling the house. So we don't know at this point why he's doing this. Why he's just picked them to kind of stalk and frighten, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Jim Cornette with a mustache.
He does. I never thought about that, but
it's like looking around, like, where's my tennis racket at?
I think this guy was behind the scenes on the movie too. He may have been a producer or something.
Was the guy that plays George in this? Was he in anything else besides this, or?
I am not really sure if he was, but I'm gonna have to look it up, right, Chris?
I would if I wasn't just on my phone, but because I kind of like his. I mean, he's got a good look to him. I think. I mean, he like that image they just showed of him, where it's like I don't know if it's like his mugshot or what that was, but yeah, he just I don't know. He has like a really like good like creepy stare about him, and I feel like really fits for this film.
I was wrong about his name. I had his name backwards, Chris. It's Baird Stafford, and he
Oh,
died
okay.
in 2023. So he died last year.
Was he in anything else?
Let's see. He was in a movie from 1987 called Dog Tags. He played a character named Roy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that one.
That was basically the only other credit he had.
All right. So
And
I guess he just he wasn't really super interested in it, I guess.
no, evidently not. Nightmare and Dog Tags. Those were the two films he was.
But that kid that just came to like CJ's window a few minutes ago, like he had a Superman shirt on, and like that's funny because like when it showed like the distribution logo at the beginning of this, like I said, it looked like the Superman text. So
Uh,
I wonder if that was intentional for them to put that Superman shirt on that kid.
yeah, it could have been. I'm not real sure. But the two movies that Baird Stafford was in were
Uh-huh.
both directed by Romano Scavallini. He was the director for this. He was also the director for Dog Tags.
Oh, okay. Oh, guess they may have possibly just been friends or something.
Hey, Russell, you say just started the film? Well, if you need to get caught up or anything, just let us know.
I'm really liking this so far. I know Uncle Bill said that he couldn't really get into this one, but like for this being my first time, I'm really digging this.
Well, that's it. I've said this before. I like, being able to introduce people to movies that they may have not seen before. Because I really would have liked it if there had been somebody to introduce me to movies growing up. Maybe
hmm
not this one when I was real young, but I mean, when I got older.
Um, I was talking to my mom on the phone last night, and I was telling her about like the streams and stuff I've been doing with you and with Candace and just other people. Um, and she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Well, horror movies and stuff like that." She's like, "Oh, that stuff you like." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And I said, and I started asking. I said, "I know I mentioned you a couple times on the streams, like, so I know you really liked Poltergeist when I was growing up." And she's like, "Yeah, that one was okay," but she said, "I don't really like much of anything else they put out unless it was like the." Halloween or whatever. She said it was like Jamie Lee Curtis. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, we watched those. She said that was mostly your dad's thing.
She would probably look at something like this and be like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, it's like I told you before. I said I'm gonna like. That's why I told you once before that I was going to go to her house for like a week and just do nothing but just make her watch horror movies with
You're
me.
gonna torture your mom, Chris. Now, I didn't torture my mom because for a long time she liked horror movies. But the thing was, there was a time period where my dad was working the night shift, and he would not get home until between 10:30 and 11 o'clock at night. And during that time period, mom and I would take that as an excuse to take over the TV in the living room. And so every night when dad was still at work, I'd say, "Hey, mom, you want to watch a movie? Let's watch a horror movie." And she said,
Right.
"All right, go pick one out, Dana." And I subjected her to probably what she thought was the most god awful collection of movies at some, because I had her watch Burial Ground.
Oh God.
But she fell asleep during it, Chris, and she woke up at the very end when Peter Bark bites his mama's boob off, and I was like, and she said,
Oh no.
and I said, "Mom, you fell asleep, didn't you?" I said, "No, you just got to experience this movie fully, you know."
Oh man, that's funny.
So
You
George
know,
is taking a. I think it's that. I don't know if it's the dark-haired woman he killed earlier, and he's had her in the car.
that one that he got right there is the lady that where he popped up behind her and
Okay,
sliced her
that's what
throat.
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom, she's into those crime shows and stuff, so I don't know why she don't like giving horror stuff a chance because there's stuff on those crime shows she watches is just as bad.
Hey, TJ. Yeah, I echo. Blissful, how are you feeling? Because I know you had a stomach bug. And TJ had an infected tooth, and because he had the stomach bug, he didn't get to get that
Yeah,
taken care of.
I remember him saying he had to get it rescheduled. I mean, I hope it isn't too far out of a reschedule because I know that I've had to reschedule dentist appointments before, and then like it'll be like 3 months later they'll give me an appointment for, and it's that can be miserable.
I could be wrong, but I thought TJ said July, which is long enough to wait.
Yeah, like I said, it's around like 2 to 3 months is when they like later if they have to reschedule you, and it's if you're having real bad issues with your teeth, man, like that can be miserable the longer you wait.
So TJ says food is staying down now, so that is important. That's very important.
Are you sticking to soft food, TJ, or I'm just curious because that's what I did when I would have toothache. I would stick to either like really soft foods or soups or stuff like that.
Right. Steve would be screwed if he had tooth problems and he got asked to eat soft foods because he doesn't like soup.
I can't imagine what Steve would do if he had a real bad toothache and they were just like, "Well, Steve, the only thing that you can eat is bacon."
God, he would lose his mind.
He'd be like, "Nah, just take me now."
Just put me out of my misery. I can't handle it.
But solids, yeah, man, I hate that for you. I know what it's like. It sucks.
Russell, you say this film started out good. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I think it's great so far. I mean, I wouldn't put it up there as like one of my favorites thus far. I mean, it could change. I don't know, but like, I like it. I mean, I like where it's going. But like, I think it was like, was it? I can't remember if it was you or was it Uncle Bill that said it in here. It does kind of have a maniac feel to it.
Yeah, only Uncle Bill said it failed miserably at trying to be a maniac film. It doesn't have Joe Spinell in it, but
But didn't this come out before Maniac?
I thought Maniac was 1980 and this one was 81, so I guess
Okay,
probably
okay.
came after Maniac.
I must be misremembering it then, because for some reason I was thinking Maniac came out in '82.
So this is another creepy scene here where they're taking pictures of the house because she's wanting to sell the house and they need pictures for the realtor. Um, and they've just taken a few pictures and the boyfriend is saying, "Come here and look at this picture for a minute." And what they're going to notice is that it appears that somebody is in that upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got the rainbow suspenders on now.
Yeah,
Like, like Mork from Mork and Mindy.
he's Mork for Mork.
I love Mork and Mindy, by the way.
I do too. I always did love that show.
You know, I didn't realize until I got with Candace that Mork and Mindy was a Happy Day spinoff.
Yeah, it was. That is so what I'm still thinking about y'all's pillow, Chris. That is
That's crazy, right?
I never would
What are the odds?
years would have thought that a movie we'd be watching for a watch along, there would be the same pillow that you guys have.
I just like noticed that when she was laying on there earlier, and I was like, that pillow looks awfully familiar.
No, Batman, I hadn't heard that Savini was appearing in Terrifier 3, but that's interesting.
You know, this kind of has like a Black Christmas feel to it too, where like he's hiding in the house and everything.
And he calls, sometimes he says things.
Right? Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out the possible places that George could be.
Myrtle Beach. There's a wild bunch that inhabits Myrtle Beach. We went there last year for vacation, and I couldn't live down there. That's for sure.
We're also finding out that George is stealing vehicles along the way. So we find out that apparently when George killed the one woman where he kind of rose up behind her, he stole her car after that.
I always love these movies too, where they're like on the old school computers, and it has everything just done through like text. It's really cool. Like war games. Like, do you want to play a game? I love war games.
I do too. That's one of my favorite films. So now they're getting probable destinations and they got percentages. So the 91% is Daytona, Florida.
Man, you would think that mom hates her kid. She's always yelling at him and
Always
stuff.
screaming at him. But I feel like telling that woman it's a damn beach. There's going to be seagulls on the beach. It wasn't necessarily CJ's fault. So now CJ is seeing good old George. He's seeing him again. He saw him outside their house. Now he's seeing him on the beach. And of course, CJ's the boy who cried wolf, right? So they're not going to believe him.
Beat the shit out of you,
the boy that cried wolf.
She's really aggressive with him.
He would be getting it for child abuse nowadays.
Uh-oh. Tommy Chong's about to wear him out.
That scarf. Why does he got that scarf around his neck? That's what I want to know.
A lot of men, I think, wore those like during like the late 70s and stuff. I guess it's just a fashion sense thing. Because you remember like Fred from Scooby Doo always wore like the ascot.
He had the ascot, yeah. I'm gonna step away for just a second and grab me a cherry cheese Danish, y'all. You're right.
Dang, that sounds good. Super Batman Nerd, he said, "Ooh, did you guys hear Savini is appearing in Terrifier 3? I did, but I don't like the Terrifier movies. So,
I don't think you're alone in that, Chris.
but that's cool. That Savini. I mean, I actually might watch it because I'm a big fan of Tom Savini, everything he does. So, like I said, we were talking about the Ripper earlier. It's been released by Vinegar Syndrome. I don't care for that movie, but I'll probably pick it up because I'm a big Tom Savini fan. And I'll probably watch Terrifier 3 because just to see his part in it. So, yeah.
There's that pill again.
That's so awesome. She's got the sheets and everything to match it too. So I was like, I didn't tell Candace, we need to find those sheets.
Yeah,
We need to replicate this woman's entire bedroom.
I can't be like, oh Lord, no. So now someone's calling her and talking about seeing her body, seeing
Yeah.
her legs.
Again, I come back to Black Christmas. It's a lot like it. Or When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, this is in the days when a lot of people smoke. A lot of people. Not everybody, but a lot of people.
You mean just like in general or on film? Because
Well, I think it was in general and on film, but it seemed to be prominent, really prominent in films.
because I will tell you something that I've never like thought about it before, but you kind of made me think of it. Is that in a lot of newer films, you don't see a whole lot of smoking in newer films unless it's like they're like smoking pot or something. But,
Exactly, yeah. But it's not cigarettes, it's I think maybe it's because a lot of people have switched to vaping instead of smoking. So you might see somebody vaping.
right, that too, yeah. So is he saying to his psychologist there that like the medicine they have him on or something is making him do these things, or I'm confused what was happening there.
I think he just is. He's like, why is this happening to me? Why are things getting worse? I think he is taking his medication, but the stuff is getting worse despite him taking the medication. I just don't think he knows what's going on.
Right. I didn't know if it was like a side effect thing or what was going on. If it,
CJ's got him a cool bike there.
it's like I wonder if it was a Schwinn.
It looks like a Schwinn. Looks
Gone
like
with the Schwinn.
it looks like a 10-speed as well.
Do you know what that joke is from, Dana? Gone with the Schwinn?
Nope. You'll have to help me out here, Chris.
The Muppet movie.
Mm.
Which is
It's
ironic
so
because the psychologist in this looks like Jim Henson. So
I didn't think about that, but yeah, he does look like Jim Henson. Blissel says she remembers when people used to smoke in the grocery store. I
yeah,
remember
too.
people used to smoke in hospitals and everything.
Everywhere, yeah. The Surgeon General is really cracking down on them now.
Not only the Surgeon General, but and I'm not trying to make anybody mad here, but some people are really. I mean, like I mentioned this before. My mom's a smoker. She's been a smoker for years now, and my dad was a smoker for years, but my dad quit several years ago. But my mom is one of the kindest, most respectful people ever. But some people treat her very meanly because she smokes.
Huh.
And
I
my
mean,
mom does not light up in other people's cars. She doesn't smoke in other people's houses. She tries to be very respectful, but she can be outside and light up, and people
yeah.
could be 10 feet away and they're going and waving their hand in front of their face and stuff like that.
Man, when they do that shit, that's just like they're doing that just to be a jerk. Yeah, you can't. I mean, everybody you do. I mean, I've never smoked a cigarette day in my life,
Me either.
but I know a lot of people, a lot of friends I have that does it. My brother-in-law CJ, he's a smoker. Um, I mean, people that say stuff about that, just like I don't know, like good life, really. George just likes to just creep up behind people.
Yeah, he does.
I guessing that's his style.
What in the world? That was a creepy doll they just showed. I guess that was a voice box on that doll.
It looked like with a little it had like kind of the almost like a I don't know that pattern with a bunch of holes. That's what I was assuming it was like that's where it had a voice box there.
So here's CJ's friend Tony, and he's going into the house where that girl just got killed. Why this kid thinks this is a good idea, I don't know. I guess kids just not knowing any better.
The shirt he's wearing kind of looks like one of the shirts that Ricky wears in Sleepaway Camp.
Mm-hmm. Tony, you oughtn't to be in there, dude.
Oh shit!
So
And
we
is that like up in an attic somewhere or where?
think so. It must be an old, I guess, dilapidated house. Now,
Yeah.
that rat that's on that dead girl's arm is clearly that. I have a sympathy for rats. I used to have pet rats. It looks like they've slapped black paint or dyed that poor rat's hair.
I don't know. But that's also kind of another just Black Christmas thing where like up in the attic the girl was like in a chair like she had the plastic bag over her head and everything. But in this case it was like she just was kind of like tied up.
No, Blissful, that was not a scone. It was actually a cherry cheese Danish. God, these kids, I swear. So now the cops have showed up at their house.
Mm.
So I don't know. The cop or detective or whoever this guy is going to be interrogating CJ.
Because they think he killed his friend and the girl, I guess.
But I don't know. Even at this time period, could they have gotten away with interrogating a kid like that?
I don't know. I mean, because, my dad used to work at this juvenile detention center years ago. Um, and I know when, like, troubled kids, when they bring them in there, Dad said that they would take them into a room and question them.
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
I just wonder how long that kid had to lay there with his mouth open for those.
Surprised the mom was like, he did it. I know he did it. Take him now.
This
She's
is
always,
this is probably the only scene where CJ seems to be visibly upset.
yeah. And the mother's, I mean, you can tell she's kind of being sympathetic for him in this situation. But it's just ironic because every other scene they had together is about she was berating him.
On the beach, she was being borderline abusive to him, I think.
And like the perspective, because you see the light on and stuff. I guess it's supposed to be like from the perspective of the camera guys that are standing around there for the news places. I guess. Huh.
So you're also going to hear the mother say, "Shut up" to the.
So, "Oh, what happened? Shut up!" She just went back to being her typical self. She had to put a face on for the police stuff, though.
Russell, I have seen Boogeyman from 1980. I really like that film.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I don't care for the sequels either. I think that
Yeah.
they're goofy and unneeded.
Um, and like and there's that scene in Blowout where they're like in that studio up there. And there's all these movie posters on the wall, and Boogeyman is one of the movie posters on the wall. Hey, he's kind of going all over the place. Like they found one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. One there's just Cocoa Beach, Florida. So they're finding these like vehicles all over the place.
What in the world? These people don't believe in putting their stuff away in the dresser drawers.
Shoot. Hey, yeah, she got it decked out in that design.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, she's got the curtains and the pillowcases and the sheets and everything.
Yeah.
There's some of that shag carpet as well. Oh, George, what are you going to do with those panties?
You don't want to know, Dana. Dang, this is a long ad too. 135 seconds.
So then CJ comes home. He's really angry. He's throwing his books around. He says, "Stupid teacher sent me home because all of them think I killed Tony." And he
So that's what happened to Tony in The Shining.
yeah, yep. By 1981, he got killed off by George Tatum. So there were some of George's pills that spilled out on the floor there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get caught up with you here in just a second. this Keytruda ad ends. See, I've never used Plex before, so I wasn't sure what to expect.
Russell says nudity and gore. What a mix and horror. Yeah, this has got plenty of both in it.
It's the best.
So CJ almost takes one of those pills. He got a whole handful of them.
Yeah, it was a Keytruda pill. That's why they got those ads on there.
So George is telling CJ to leave the house now while you can. And of course, CJ thinks it's one of his friends.
Finally.
So now we're seeing a plane touchdown here. I believe this is the doctors looking for George.
All right, I'm caught back up with you. The the plane just came on the landing strip, so
Why does that doctor have a cowboy hat on all of a sudden?
maybe he went to that bar to see that guy that was singing earlier, and he's like, "Man, this gives me some inspiration. I'm gonna start wearing cowboy
Oh,
hats."
give me a hat. Of course, this is the stupidest doctor in the history of doctors. He's saying George can't be here. George isn't here, and we know that George is here.
Blissful, you said I don't like ads, yet I will watch compilations of commercials from the
I
80s.
will too.
That's something that I do a lot, like especially if it's like how I like to search different ones like Christmas commercials, Halloween commercials. Like I've watched like a whole compilation of McDonald's commercials. I love stuff like that because it's just nostalgic for me, and I grew up watching stuff like that all the time on regular TV, so it's always nice to go back and look at those.
So now, of course, the doctor realizes that, oh my God, George is here in Florida.
Yeah.
TJ, very good point. You say watching them when you wanna is totally different. Yeah, when the ads are unwarranted and they're intrusive, that's a whole
Yeah.
different. Evidently, $20 for babysitting was a lot of money back in 1981.
I'd imagine so.
Mm.
Still a lot of money for me sometimes.
How is it that you pull a towel off your head and your hair is completely dry? Only movie magic can do.
Oh, yeah, that don't make any sense.
Yeah, bless. Well, it was a small fortune back then. $20. Yeah.
Dana, did you see those American Werewolf in London figures that Nick is putting
Yes,
out? I sent to you.
I did. Those are awesome looking.
Oh man, they're. I hope because that right there, what they showed is just. I guess it's just the prototypes. I hope the final product comes out looking that good
Yeah.
because the likenesses on their faces is spot on.
Mm.
I've already pre-ordered my set, so.
Just a little heads up for those of you that watch the Eurocult streams that me and Steve and Dirk and Darren do. Um, this is going to be my pick, and it's my pick for next time. I'm going to be doing Nightmare, and Steve said, "Well, I'm not watching that movie again. I've already seen it too recently." I said, "Well, you do whatever you want. You don't have to watch it again."
That's what I do sometimes. Sometimes if I talk with like when we did, I can't remember what one, but anyway, just an example. Like say that I did like a seductive poison show with you. Sometimes I don't rewatch those movies before I talk about it. I
I
just go
don't
based off
either.
memory.
We're going to be doing the Devil's Honey tomorrow, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not going to watch the Devil's Honey again."
Yeah, I've not seen that one. You know,
Saxophone sex ain't my idea of,
I want to need some elaboration on that. Dana.
Well, all you got to do is take one look at the poster. Look up the movie poster for Devil's Honey online, Chris, when you get a chance.
Okay.
That'll probably tell you all you need to know about that movie. This guy, her boyfriend, is obviously stoned out of his gourd.
He is. He's completely stoned, Dana.
Either that or he's just extremely goofy.
That could be it too. Dang, that's another kind of callback to when a stranger calls. Like, have you checked the children? And
Mm.
because she's talking about how the kids were asleep upstairs or whatever.
I'd be like, if I was her, I'd be like, "You idiot, put me down before you drop me. You can't even walk."
What year did When a Stranger Calls come? Did it come out after or before this?
Before this, I believe
Before.
it was maybe 78, 79,
That's
somewhere.
what I was thinking. It was around this. Was it? It was kind of around the same time as Black Christmas or Did Black Christmas come out in 1980 or 81?
Black Christmas actually came out in like 73, 74.
Oh, really? I didn't think it was that old. I thought it was either late 70s or early 80s. Cause like John Saxon's in it, and he looks very similar to what he looks like in Nightmare on Elm Street. So I thought it was around the same time. I'm not very good when it comes to years. Candace is really good at that. Candace can really, she can about tell you any year that a film came out, but that's not something I'm super good with unless it's something a movie I really care about.
It was 74, Chris.
74. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess John Saxon just aged really well within 10 years.
Yep. So you're getting to see, well, we're getting to see some male nudity.
We're seeing something, that's for sure.
I personally don't want to see the male nudity on this guy, but whatever.
What, like Joe Bob calls them, they ain't gonna show no wang doodle, are they?
Or, but they're definitely, as Joe Bob would say, showing butox on that
Utah.
guy.
Yeah. Did you watch Last Drive-In last night, Dana?
I watched a lot of it because they showed Graduation Day, and I like Graduation.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I had to watch it. I was like, all right, that's a good one to show.
Mhm.
Which I watch. I watch Last Drive-In regardless of what they're showing.
I do
They've
too.
shown.
Sometimes it could be the most god awful movie, but
Oh, Lord. Their Easter show this year where they showed that Rotten Tail movie. Oh my God, it was like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
that was pretty bad.
I think that's like the joke though with the Last Drive-In. Like they'll show some really good ones occasionally, but most of the time they'll show some like really stinkers. That just so they could just make fun of it.
Russell, you want to know where we're at in the movie? Well, the guy is sitting on the steps, I think, smoking a joint. The killer
Yeah,
is getting ready to come up behind him.
as if he wasn't already stoned enough. Man, that's a killer mask.
Yeah. And as far as time, I'm at an hour, 23 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Wonder what kind of mask that is. That's neat.
I'm not sure, but I always did think that was a cool mask.
I'm already getting another ad. Oh my Lord, this is kind of. It was kind of few and far between there in the beginning.
You're gonna get inundated with them. Okay, so she just got. Ooh, man, he just put some kind of. I don't know if that is some kind of hammer or what that is, but he's chopping at her back with it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna see that part yet.
TJ, you said there was a YouTube copy of this movie. Well, the only one I saw was you had to buy to rent it. So kudos to you if you found one that was for free.
Yeah, sometimes they're kind of hidden. You got to look like forever before you find one on YouTube. And then again, there's times where you don't. It's like there's no struggle to try to find a copy of the movies. But yeah, I looked on YouTube. I couldn't find a free copy on YouTube of this.
Russell's watching it that way, so evidently there must be one. It must be buried pretty deep. Or
it wasn't showing up for me. I don't know. Like maybe everybody's like YouTube feeds like look different. I don't know how it works.
So I always thought that these scenes were creepy too. With the babysitter's dead, her boyfriend's dead, and the killer is trying to get to these children.
This ad's about over with, thankfully.
Oh, TJ, you say there's one that has an introduction from some guy doing a horror host shtick. And for those of you guys and gals that want to see it, hopefully without ads or hopefully without too many ads, TJ has put the link to it maybe when Chris goes back and watches it again, he can go from that link.
Well, I really have liked this movie. I mean, I'm not even finished it yet, but I feel like this is something I need to get a physical copy of. I had to before I get caught up with you, I had to watch this scene you were talking about where it's killing the chick and
Um,
CJ watches him do it.
so CJ has just shot George now. So, okay. Russell says it's called Saturday Spooks #4, Nightmare 1981. In case y'all want to look it up by title. I'll try to remember to ask you, TJ. I just kind of was a little pressed for time today.
Damn. He blasted the hell out of George.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, damn.
And then George keeps getting up and he has to shoot him a second time.
I shot him 6 times. He's not human.
That's what CJ's going to say to his mom when she gets home.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say.
And George is still not dead.
Of course not.
He ain't even supernatural and he's still getting up. TJ, you say everyone should have a copy of Ghostbusters tomorrow or they shouldn't bother streaming. Well, hopefully everybody will have a copy of that. I hope.
I have multiple copies of Ghostbusters, including a digital copy. So, yeah, there won't be an issue with that tomorrow. I would like to see more people join us for Ghostbusters, Dana. If we
Me
could
too.
round some people up.
So you heard it from Chris and you're hearing it from me. If you want to join in on the Ghostbusters watch along live on the stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, be sure to let me know so I can get the link to you.
I was gonna say, 'cause who doesn't like Ghostbusters? I mean, come on.
I'm sorry, I'm going to use one of Candace's coin a phrase. I don't trust anybody that doesn't like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's true. Unless you're like my friend Brad that I went to FrankenCon with. He said he only recently got into Ghostbusters. So I was talking to him about it, and I mentioned the NES Advantage controller that they control the Statue of Liberty with in Ghostbusters 2. And he's like, "Oh, I haven't seen Ghostbusters 2." I'm like, "What?"
How can you watch Ghostbusters and not follow that up with Ghostbusters 2?
Right. That was my thought process too, Dana.
Candace says Henley's watching Ghostbusters right now.
Oh, I would imagine so. Henley, our nephew Henley, that's like his number one thing right now is Ghostbusters.
And Blissful says 2 questions: how and why.
Yeah, for real.
So we're seeing more of the flashbacks as George is still alive. He's coming up the steps after CJ, and
I gotta know what that mask is he's wearing. I mean, I'm gonna have to like screenshot that and use it through Google Lens or something to figure that out.
So we're seeing George just told CJ, "You don't understand. CJ was still shooting him. Now we're going into a more complete version of the young George coming home from school,
Hmm.
and he's hearing, slaps and stuff like that coming from upstairs.
Clearly, this is not the first time CJ has operated a gun because he clearly knows what he's doing.
Which is scary to me that he knows that much about the guns. TJ says Janine and Tully getting it on in Ghostbusters 2 was the dumbest plot point.
Yeah, which is weird because Janine was kind of Egon's. That was his woman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit strange, yeah. But I accepted it because I like Rick Moranis' character, Louis Tully.
Candace says, I have one big question. How is Elvis and have you seen him lately? I remember that line. So clearly George is disturbed by what he's just seen. Frankly, I'm kind of disturbed by what we just seen in the bedroom. So what does George do? He's going to go get an axe. That's not abnormal at all, is it?
George's like, I'm tired of this shit.
I'm tired of watching y'all slap each other around and stuff. I've had it.
I like how the light shines through that lattice in that little cabin where he gets the axe. It's kind of the same shot in Evil Dead 2 when he goes into the work shed.
Yeah. There was blood on the wall, it looked like. Maybe it was paint, but it looked like blood on the wall near the bottom when George came in. Now, here's almost the same exact scene from earlier with the woman, only he slit her throat instead of using an axe on her.
Mm-hmm.
There went the head. Off with her head there.
Yeah. They really shot the fake blood out of that neck, didn't they?
Mhm. And then that shot of George standing over his father with the axe. That shot there when the axe goes into the head definitely looks like a Savini shot. A Savini effect, or however you want to look at it.
Yeah, that it definitely does. I don't know. I need to look more into this, Dana. I need to know if Savini was actually associated with this or not.
After you do a little research, Chris, I'd love to see what your thoughts are on it.
Well, my research is going to be up close and personal because Savini's going to be at Horror Hound this year,
Oh,
and
you're
I'm going to
gonna
ask
ask him.
him. I'm going to point blank ask him.
Chris is gonna piss Savini off. He's gonna go, get the hell away from my table.
I mean, it ain't hard to do anyway. It seems like he gets pissed off at anybody anyway for looking at him wrong.
I will say when I met Savini, he was okay. He was
Yeah, I mean, he's not super talkative. Every time I've met him, he's okay, but he's just like, he's got that grumpiness about him. But I want to ask him for real. I'm not kidding about that. Because I said, listen, I want to get this straight.
Nightmare.
Hold on just a second. Candace is asking me something.
Oh, okay.
We have it on Blu-ray. I'll be right back, Dana, okay?
Yeah.
So, let's see. All right.
So for those of you that didn't catch that, when it is revealed that George was CJ's mother's husband, and it was CJ's father. And we get one last wink from CJ at the end.
Okay. All right, I'm back.
So, Chris, you may have missed that part near the end. It turns out that George was CJ's mother's husband. He was the man that disappeared. He was CJ's father.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
That's what I was kind of expecting, something like that. I wasn't for sure, but yeah.
now, Cleve Hall, if y'all are looking at the credits and you see special makeup effects in Cleve Hall is the one that pretty much claims that he did all the special effects. And if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, he does allude to that. And he was not Tom Savini's friend. I don't think he thinks much of Tom Savini, obviously, by the way he talks.
Well, like I said, I am going to ask Savini about this because I really did like this movie. First of all, I thought it was great. Really good effects, and just like the character of George had a really like unique creepiness about him. I loved it. But I am going to ask Savini, like, listen, I've had heard a lot of different stories about Nightmare on a Damaged Brain, and I know you're credited as the special effects director, but I've also heard that that you wanted your name removed from this, that you weren't really involved. I'm just like, can you give me any kind of backstory on that? And just because I've heard a lot of mixed stories about it, and I'm just curious to what he says.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't hurt to ask him. I mean, probably the worst he could say is go watch the 4K and the Blu-ray.
Yeah, he's like, well, just go Google it, kid. I ain't got time for this. You want an autograph or not?
Buy something from me, damn it.
Probably what it be.
Questions about Nightmare.
Go ask that somebody else. I ain't got time for this. Got to make money around here.
I gotta ask you this, Chris. Whenever you do go up to Savini, can I stand there with my cell phone so we can capture it?
Yeah, I mean that'd be fine because that would make it even more funnier.
If I happen to be around at that point in time, I will definitely do that.
Yeah, he'll be like, he's like, what is this? Is this for cops? Why am I being interrogated about a movie I wasn't a part of?
Oh man, what would be epic is if we caught Savini in a really bad mood anyway.
Oh God!
Comes up and asks.
So, I was watching this on Plex, and it has like little Rotten Tomatoes rankings, scorings on like the title screen. and it says that Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 43%. I feel like that's a little rough, and I know it's all based off like user reviews and all that, but I mean, this movie was better than some other like early 80s horror films that I've seen. And I feel like they're a little rough on the rating for this because like I said, I really like this one.
I know what happened, Chris. Uncle Bill got on there and put about 100 bad reviews on there.
Yeah, he just decided he's going to make a bunch of different emails and a bunch of different accounts. He's like, listen, I'm going to shit all over this movie, and nobody should go watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen movies. Well, and it's just all based on personal opinions, when people review that stuff. But I have seen movies with higher ratings than that I didn't care for at all.
Oh, me too. And I'm like, who in the heck is reviewing these films? It doesn't seem like they're a horror fan, or not our type of horror fan anyway. Russell, you say our fave type of gore film? Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an effects laden gore film. I ain't even gonna lie about it. And I wouldn't lie to you guys and gals anyway. And it's not gonna be for everybody. And I believe I'm trying to remember if this was one of the video nasties that was actually prosecuted. Let me
I don't
look.
know. There's a whole documentary of those video nasties. I think it's on Tubi.
It's a very good documentary. I think Steve's got both parts of it.
There was a movie. I'm trying to think what it was. I watched this a few years ago where this lady worked for this company where they were like investigating all the different movies that were on the video nasties list, and like there was like a movie she came across, and it's like something that really happened, and she starts investigating it. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Because it's a newer film, and like I said, I watched it a couple years ago because Candace actually found it, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now, Chris, but I may have an epiphany at midnight tonight in my.
Right, Victor just posted it. It's called Censor. Yeah, it's great.
But I wanted to give everybody a little bit of a background on the movie we just watched. Scavolini, the director of this, he had previously worked making hardcore pornography films. So he developed the idea for Nightmare after reading newspaper articles about psychiatric patients who had been administered powerful drugs that altered their behavior. He completed the film screenplay over a 2-week period while vacationing in Cocoa Beach, Florida, where he chose to set the majority of the film. And the film was shot on location in Florida and New York City in late 1980. This was one of the video nasties that was prosecuted. The Motion Picture Association of America granted it an X rating. It was later banned in the United Kingdom and prosecuted for obscenity as a video nasty.
So that whole video nasties list thing to me is like
ridiculous.
So it's so strange and ridiculous. Like, maybe I'm looking at it from like just a biased point of view because like I enjoy, seeing the effects of gore and everything in a lot of these horror films, and it's just like, it's mesmerizing to me. It's just interesting to know the process that these effects guys go through to make some of those things happen. And I came very close years ago before I met Candace. Me and my friend Justin were actually considering moving to Pittsburgh and going to Tom Savini's makeup effects school.
Yeah.
But that unfortunately didn't happen. But I do know that now that Stan Winston has his school too, or at least someone's running that school because he's passed away now. But um, they do online classes now for Stan Winston's school.
That's awesome that they're choosing to do.
So I may consider looking into that again some point because, like I said, special effects, especially special effects in horror films, has always been a huge interest for me.
Y'all look out. Chris is going to be the next big special effects dude.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wish you would, Chris, because I think that you would go back to the old school special effects that a lot of us in here now kind of, we grew up on, we love, the latex and the fake blood. I'm not saying you wouldn't mix in a little CG here and there, but
Oh, I wouldn't. Not personally. No, I would not, because that just stuff does not appeal to me. I'm a practical effects guy through and through.
Russell, this film is under a different name. Not only Nightmare, but Nightmares in a Damaged Brain is another title for this film.
Yeah.
Which,
That much I did know before seeing it. That was about the extent of my knowledge on this film. And for a first, usually sometimes when I watch films for the first time, it takes me a couple of times to watch it. I have to watch it first and then maybe watch it back to kind of see things that I missed, to kind of analyze it and appreciate it. But I don't think that was needed in this case because I really, I followed along with what really everything that was going on. It was pretty simplified. It's just kind of one of those formulas that you see in a lot of films like that for that time period. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I hope that for those of you in the chat, that if this was a first time watch for you, if you were watching along, I hope that you enjoyed it. Hey, Twisted Trucker, you say it's also known as Blood Splash on VHS. Now, I did not know that. So
I didn't know that either.
but I will say, I guess I can stay on here till about 9:15.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make this a little bit of an earlier night to allow myself to get a little rest and relaxation before tomorrow. Also, I want to remind people that weren't in here earlier and may not watch this on the replay. If you don't see me at 3 p.m. tomorrow doing the movie munchies, it's because I had a small snafu with getting everything together. And so that will be rescheduled, not for this next weekend, because I'm going to be taking that weekend off, but the following weekend, I will be making the deep red spaghetti. So y'all don't think that I've perished in the night or anything like that because I'm not on at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Bacon's good.
Dana just has to go to the grocery store, everybody. I mean, that's all it is.
Dana may have to get a few more winks of sleep because I've been just wiped out. I took a little cat nap earlier today to try to more prepare myself for this.
Are you off work on Monday like I am?
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm off. So this was actually a 4-day weekend for me because I took off Friday.
Oh, you took off yesterday, yeah.
TJ, you say sounds like you're in a better mood, Dana. Don't forget to sleep and eat and take your insulin. Yes, sir. I will. I got to follow Dr. TJ's orders there.
Take your insulin, Dana, or else.
I do always take my insulin, but sometimes, and I know that I shouldn't do this, I delay eating sometimes. And, you know, when you're on insulin, that's not a good.
Well, yeah, so I was going to say, you better not do that too much.
No, because the ambulance has done been called to our house before, like several years ago, because I got out of it. And Steve,
Yeah.
evidently, bless his heart, had never seen anybody in the middle of a low blood sugar reaction. And thankfully, my neighbor Kim, her brother is diabetic. He's been diabetic since they were young. And Steve just didn't know what to do. So he went over to Kim's house and he said, Dana's acting weird. I don't know what to do. And so Kim came over and I was out of it. I don't remember any of this stuff. So Kim came over and she took one look at me and she was like, yeah, she's got low blood sugar. We're going to have to, you know, call the ambulance. So when I came to, Kim was propping me up. She was behind me. I was on the bed. She was behind me. There was a paramedic on either side of me. And they had been giving me glucose and stuff. And I was like, the first thing that crossed my mind was, oh shit. I went out of it and now the paramedics are here. And I was mad because I missed the hot firemen that were there before, you know. Because when they send out the paramedics, I don't know if they do this everywhere, but in Louisville, when they send out the paramedics, the firemen also come. But if everything is being taken care of by the paramedics, they usually leave. And I know we've talked about this before, but when Chris unfortunately had his seizure when he was at me and Steve's house, I had to call the ambulance and the firemen came then too, but I don't imagine Chris cared one way or the other whether the firemen were hot or not.
Damn it, I missed the fireman.
TJ says, come on, Dana, you've seen Steel Magnolias, Dana. Drink your juice.
But between me and you, Dana, between what's happened to me and what's happened to you in that house, Steve's seen a lot of stuff he'd never seen before.
Yeah. Of course, the thing was that day, that morning when that happened with Chris, Steve was at the gym because he always goes.
That's right. That's right.
So you had to take a ride in the ambulance to the hospital because they wanted to.
I don't remember it, but I'm sure I did.
We're still pretty much out of it, and I think they determined that they needed to take you. And so I think Candace rode in the ambulance with you, and I stayed at the house so I could tell Steve what happened. And then when you guys were ready, of course, me and Steve came and picked y'all up from the hospital. But
yeah, for all I know, I mean, you and Candace could have strapped me to the top of a car and drove me to the hospital. Because, like I said, once it happened,
exactly what we did.
I mean, because like when that happened, like I have no idea what happened in the events, all that, other than what you guys have told me. Because like. The last thing I remember about that was me going to sleep the night before. And then when I was like, I woke, like I was conscious. I knew what was happening when I woke up in the hospital bed. And even then, at the time, like I didn't know exactly, like my memory had not recollected. I was just kind of like coming back into it because there was a doctor there talking to me, and they pointed over to Candace and said, do you know who this is? And I said, that's my mom, is what Candace said. I said,
yeah.
But, fortunate for me, I started like my consciousness, I started regaining it to full capacity soon after that, because I guess somewhere inside me was like, listen, you can't let this stop you from meeting John Carpenter at Friday Night Film Fest. So I did, and as soon as they let me out, like at the hospital, we went straight to Friday Night Film Fest, and I met John Carpenter.
Yeah, we all, went to Fright Night, and I remember us. Do you remember us eating lunch too, Chris? I think did. We go to Hardee's? Where did we go?
I can't remember, but I just remember that Friday night. The building that Friday night was in was hotter than hell.
It was very hot that year. Very hot. Uh,
Yeah,
Bliss
it
was
was.
supposed to not get. She says, "Chris, don't give them ideas." I think that was about me and Candace strapping you to the car, taking you.
Well, I mean, like, I wouldn't put it past Candace sometimes.
We strapped you in the car like Aunt Edna in National Lampoon's Vacation.
So that's funny you mentioned that because I did some research on the original Vacation film a while back, and it was originally in the script that when they strapped her to the car, she wasn't dead yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you know, if you've seen the film, you know that's not the case.
No. Mm-mm. Uh, I love that movie too. I know we're not really talking about National Lampoon's Vacation, but my dad introduced me to that movie too. And that was probably my big introduction to Chevy Chase too. And
Yeah,
I
I don't.
love those
It probably was mine too. I would say. My dad was the same way. My dad introduced me to that movie, but my dad likes Chevy Chase a lot. Which he introduced me to a lot of his films, including my favorite Chevy Chase film, Nothing But Trouble.
I like that one too. That one has a bizarre element to it, but it still is a fun watch.
Wow, I love it. It's so funny.
And another one I really like with not only Chevy Chase but Bill Murray, Rodney Dangerfield, and that's
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack. Yeah, Caddyshack is fantastic too.
Yeah, I love Caddyshack. Not so much Caddyshack 2, but I like the original.
The original Caddyshack, though, that's the one to watch.
hmm
Uh,
Have you ever watched Funny Farm or Modern Problems?
yeah, it's been years, but I have seen them. And
Modern Problems
The
is
Pledge
great.
movies as well. Um, my dad introduced me to Fletch with Chevy Chase. You ever seen those?
Fletch and Fletch Lives.
Mhm.
It's been a while, but yeah, I've seen them.
Um, yeah, Chevy Chase is just one of those people that I just love watching on screen. Yeah, TJ says don't meet Chevy in person. Haven't heard good things. I've heard that.
Well, I've heard that too, TJ, but I've also heard mixed things too. Now I know he's done. There's a show in Pittsburgh they do called Steel City Con, and he's appeared at that show a couple times in the past few years. And like I said, if I've heard mixed things. Like there's some times where people met him and said he wasn't, super nice or anything like that. Sometimes he's been rude. But then I've seen other people comment on that where they met him and said he was really cool.
Mm.
So it's odd, like that whole thing is interesting to me of like how so many of us meet celebrities at conventions and we can have a very different experience with them just regardless. I mean just based on who we are and what we've said to them or whatever. Like it's like the Tom Savini thing. Like a lot of people will say Tom Savini's rude and a jerk or the worst celebrity experience I've ever had with him. But then there's other times, like I've met him several times and he's never been rude to me at
No,
all. I mean, he seems kind of grumpy at times and he's not super talkative, but he's not like the worst celebrity I've ever met or anything.
hmm yeah, for me either. And I can't really say, as I've said before, that I've had a bad experience with anybody. And I hope that I never do because that
Yeah.
would crush me. Um, like if I went and got my picture with Robert England come September, and he, I don't think Robert England's going to do this, but if he yelled at me or something, I think I'd just go in a corner and cry or something.
I'm telling you, that you ain't got nothing to worry about, Dana. That ain't gonna happen with Robert England. That dude is like one of the nicest celebrities ever.
And I trust you guys, and you guys haven't been the only ones that have said that. I mean, anybody that has met Robert England or talked to him or anything like that they've all said the same thing, that he's the nicest guy and that he likes to talk. Regardless of what's going on around him, he likes to talk to people and tell stories and all of that. If you haven't watched that Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, they say it a bunch in that. Every time they interview somebody, oh, Robert likes to talk. He likes to talk. But
Yeah.
But guys and gals, it has been fun. I'm so glad that Chris got to join me for this and that he got to watch
Absolutely.
and I gotta ask though, Chris, would this be a movie for Candace? Probably not.
I don't think it would bother her.
Yeah, it doesn't bother.
No, I mean, like I said, me and her have watched stuff worse than this, as far as like, graphic detail and stuff. Like, I think she would do better with this movie than she would like a movie that involves like possession and stuff, because that's not something she does at all. Like The Exorcist and stuff like that. No, she absolutely refuses to watch stuff like that. We started watching this show on Netflix. It's called Evil. It's about kind of like this. There's this one guy. He's working for the church, and they're just doing all these like kind of investigations on people that are being possessed and stuff like that. And I'm still watching it. Candace is like, oh, I don't think this is for me. So she said, you could just finish watching this by yourself. I was like, okay. But as far as like this though, like there's nothing super like graphic in it that, to me at least, to where it's going to really offend anybody. Because to me, in this, it just kind of seemed like a typical like, gore that's in horror films, and Candace has seen stuff just like this, but yeah, there's really nothing here that I could see that would trigger her in any way as far as kind of the personal things. So yeah, I think she would be fine if she. But honestly, just I know Candace's taste, and I don't think she would care for this movie anyway.
She might watch it once, and then it's like, I don't watch that ever again.
She's not, like, because this is kind of like a slasher film.
Yeah.
And she's not big into slashers. She likes some of the more popular ones, like the Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. But the really obscure ones like these, it's not her favorite like subgenre of horror is probably like the hauntings stuff, like ghost, paranormal, not like possession. No, it gets into that. That's a little bit different. But just kind of like trying to think of an example of like like House on Haunted Hill of Vincent Price. Because that's what she likes. The older stuff, like the more classic black and white stuff, more than anything.
But so I want to thank everybody that was in here in the chat tonight. We had a pretty good crowd at all times. Even before we got started with the movie, there were over 10 people in here. So perhaps people were curious about what is this movie Nightmare from 1981, and that's always a good thing. And again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything, but moving forward, that warning I am going to put at the beginning of any streams. Sorry, my throat got really dry. Probably means I'm talking too much, but I do that many, many times. But just to be safe and to kind of warn people, any material that I think may be discussed or we're watching or whatever that could be controversial, that could be a little too hard for some people to listen to as it's talked about. There will be warnings at and I will warn you before we get started with the stream. I will have that warning that came up at the beginning of this, and we will also have a warning in the description for the stream. So,
And,
other than that, I'm not sure if there's any other ways I can, let people
and
know.
I feel like that's a good idea, Dana, because it's you're playing it safe that way, and because you really don't know like what could trigger anybody. Like, because I know everybody has different things about them that triggers them, and we don't always know what that is.
Mhm.
And I think it's best to play it safe like that way. Um, if you're going to be offended, you're warned. Um, so yeah, good
I,
idea.
I can always fall back on, I mean, not fall back on that with YouTube. YouTube's going to do whatever it's going to do with algorithms
Right.
and all that. But the people that come in here, that's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about YouTube. YouTube's going to do what they want. But I do not want to cause harm to anyone, even for a small amount of time. I don't want them to be thrown into a panic or to be tormented
Yeah.
in any way. Um, but thank you, Russell, and you have a good night too. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream and the movie and all that. And I guess me and Chris will go on and skedaddle on out of here for tonight. But be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, no movie munchies. Sorry about that. But we will be watching Ghostbusters tomorrow night. So, again, if you want to join in live on the stream, I've got enough slots for 10 people to be on here. We might break the internet, but you know, we can have a heck of a good time while we're breaking the internet. If you want to be on here, just let me know. I'll be sure to get the link to you so that you can get on the stream. And I know that Chris and Candace both are planning on being on here if at all possible. Um,
Yeah.
so just join all of us for Ghostbusters tomorrow night. This is the original Ghostbusters. No remakes, technically no sequels. Well, I might do Ghostbusters 2 at a later time. We don't want to be like Chris's friend now. We don't want to be like him saying, I ain't seen
Slime. What the
Ghostbusters 2.
heck?
So, on that note, we're going to get out of here. But I do want to remind everybody, as I always try to do, is to be kind to one another and blaze that trail, despite what says would be a better tagline to me ending up these streams. And I'm not going to repeat what he said yesterday.
Although I don't disagree with him.
So, Chris remembers what Wes said yesterday. So anyway, you guys and gals have a great night and a great rest of your Saturday, and let's make it a wonderful Sunday. And if you're off Monday, let's make it a fantastic Monday as
Yeah.
well. It's just
I'm thinking about grilling out on Monday, Dana. I'm not sure yet. Depends on the
there you
weather.
go. Yeah, I hope y'all get to grill out. I hope we
That'd
don't
be
have
awesome.
storms or anything.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get out of here. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.